Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Savannah. I'm your host of My Thoughts Exactly. And before you get started, make sure you subscribe. That way you never miss an episode. We post weekly here on the podcast every single Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. We also upload the video version onto YouTube on Fridays as well. So make sure you are subscribed. And with that being said, you guys, happy Friday. I hope you have had a great week so far. And if you haven't, guess what? It's Friday. It's the weekend. You made it. Happy Friday. I personally have had a pretty great week this week. I actually turned 28 years old this week. If you didn't know, my birthday is on January 14th. And so I celebrated it. It was on a Tuesday. I'm actually filming this the day after. I'm filming this on Wednesday. And so for my birthday, I had a really great just like self-care day. I woke up, I went to the gym. I then went and got a massage. And then I came back and I went to go see my best friend who also is a hairstylist here in Nashville. She's amazing. And I went and she did my hair, and then we went to dinner, and then we went and had a little nightcap afterwards. It was just a great time, honestly, very low key, very chill, but so nice and just needed. And I just loved it. I had a great time. I'm going to dinner with Hayden tomorrow night to celebrate because he was actually out of town during my birthday. He had a work trip, so he couldn't be here, but we're going to go celebrate that tomorrow at a little dinner spot in Nashville that we've never been to. So I'm very excited. Since you guys are going to be hearing this the day after, I'll tell you the place. We're going to this place called Fancy Pants in Nashville. I'm very excited. First of all, I love the name Fancy Pants. Fancy Pants. It sounds so cute and like posh. I love it. So we're going there, and that's going to be like our little birthday celebration. And then Hayden's birthday is on January 22nd, which I just like find so funny. Like, of course I would be marrying someone whose birthday is quite literally a week after me. It just, not only are our birthdays like right after Christmas, but they're also in a week span of each other. It's just a lot. And my brother's birthday is on the 13th. There's just a lot going on in January. But anyways, other than that, that's kind of my little update for you. But as you can tell by the title of today's episode, I used my birthday, essentially. I use my birthday as an opportunity to do this episode again. And by again, I mean that this is kind of a tradition that we do here on My Thoughts Exactly. I did this when I turned 26. I did this when I turned 27 last year. And now we are doing it again, me turning 28. And it is 28 things I learned by 28. Some of these are just like funny, haha little things. And then some of them are some of the more important philosophies and lessons that I have learned over the years. Now, I am not saying that you should put any of these into practice. This is just what I have learned over the years and what I've kind of come to realize over the years. 28 seems crazy. You guys, I started social media when I was 20 years old, which is wild. Or was I think I might have been 19 turning 20. I think I was 19 because I feel like I didn't drink for a whole year, like that first year of me being online. That's how I measure my age. I feel like I wasn't drinking alcohol. And I remember when I did turn 21, I think we did like a truth or drink. I think that's how we celebrated on my channel. But anyways, that's that on that. But regardless, I've been on the internet for quite some time. And I think it's like 8 years. I got a notification from my channel the other day that was like, it's your 8-year birthday. And I was like, that makes me sick. But I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful that you guys are here. No matter when you have joined me on this journey, I am just really, really appreciative. And I loved the messages that you guys were sending me yesterday. They were so sweet and just heartfelt. And knowing that you guys have been here for so long is such an incredible feeling. And there was this one, and it warmed my heart. It was one of you saying essentially like, you'll always be the spray tan story time girl in my mind, but you've evolved and grown, and I've been here the whole way. And it just is so funny because if you don't know, that's really how I started. I started doing story times, and I worked at a tanning salon, and I had awful spray tans, and they were all over my hands, and every single person definitely did not fail to mention it at all. So it was quite the time, definitely a different era of the internet. But anyways, let's jump into this list. So I have 28 things by 28. So we're just going to hop right into it. The first thing that I have learned is change is inevitable. This might seem like a no duh to a lot of you, but for me as a type A control freak, which we've talked about before, learning that change is going to happen no matter what I do, learning that change is inevitable, learning that throughout life there's going to be times where you're going to go through change, whether that be good or bad, is just a part of it and a part of life. That's something that I've just kind of had to come to terms with and and just kind of get a grip on and understand that, change is going to happen. It's just a part of life. And as much as I try and control it, there's not much that I can do about it. And it's more so when you look at and you think about change isn't as much to me anymore about like, oh my God, this change, like how can I stop this change from happening? It's more so, how am I going to react and respond to this inevitable change? Because it's going to happen no matter what, but how am I going to show up after this change and because of this change? So learning that change is inevitable, and no matter how much I might try to stop that from happening, that it'll happen anyways. That's something that I've had to learn by 28. The next one, sometimes the only thing you can control is how you react. That kind of goes back to the first one a little bit, but even with just, people in general, friends, a lot of times the only thing that we can control, and this is what I've learned, again, this is, adjacent to the change thing, is that I can only control how I react. I can't control what someone else is going to do. I can't control what someone else is going to say. I can't control how someone else is going to perceive me. I can't control, there's so many things in life that are out of our control. But the one thing that I can control is how I react, my reaction. Am I going to give them this big, giant reaction, or am I just going to sit back and, let my silence speak for itself, essentially? And that's something that I've learned as well. And I've also learned that sometimes silence is the best response. I actually think that that's the third one. Yeah. Sometimes no response is the best response. I've learned a lot of times that sometimes when people are going back and forth with each other or arguing or tiffing, like a lot of times we just want to get the last word in just to be able to say we got the last word in. Like, oh, I'm going to show you. I'm going to say the last thing. And pretty much 99% of the time, first of all, it's unnecessary. Second of all, you can't take it back. So whatever you're going to say, it's probably not going to be a great thing that you're about to say, and you can't take it back. And third, I have never regretted sitting in silence. There's been many times where I've said things, and whether that be out of frustration or anger or sadness or whatever emotion that is over the course of my life, I've said things and I'm like, oh, like I wish I just didn't say that. Wouldn't it be great if I just like sat back in silence and just let my silence speak for itself? I think that a lot of times we try and overcompensate by just like making these grand remarks, and maybe they're not, a lot of times they're probably not good remarks, and a lot of times it's probably not a great thing to say. And so I feel like something that I have learned over the years is that sitting back and sitting in silence, I will never regret that. Granted, don't mistake my kindness for weakness, and if I need to say something, I will. But for the most part, sitting back in silence and moving in silence, to me, I found is the better way to go. Number 4, I've learned that I am an introverted extrovert. I thought for a lot of my life, I was simply just an introvert. And then there were times in my life where when I was like single and going out all the time, I'm like, maybe I'm an extrovert. No, your girl is both an introvert. Well, I'm both. I'm an introvert and an extrovert. So by definition, an introverted extrovert. When I have my people, when I have my friends, when I have my circle, that is when the extroverted part comes out. You put me in a big crowd of people I don't know, my social anxiety, it's going to skyrocket. But if you put me with my friends, you put me with my family, you put me with my people where I'm comfortable, I feel safe. I feel like it's a safe environment. I feel like that it's just kind of a good space and good energy. That's when the extrovertedness comes out. So by definition, introverted extrovert. Okay, next, number 5, invest in yourself. We have talked about this a lot on the podcast. I feel like investing in yourself is something that I have really been thinking about going into 2025, and just investing in myself, not in like an overconsumption way, but there are certain times in life and certain things in life where I feel like are worth the investment. For example, like I'm always going to want good skincare. That's just kind of like a thing for me. Like skincare is an investment into myself. What I'm putting into my body. So groceries, nutrition, that's an investment into myself. What I put in my home, like the pieces and the energy that I bring into my home, investment into myself, like interior design, home decor stuff. Those types of things I think are so worth it. I have never, gotten, like, for example, like the skincare stuff. I've never done a treatment. I've never done certain things and been like, oh, I wish I didn't do that because, I shouldn't have invested into myself. No, like those are things where I truthfully believe it is important to invest in yourself. And there's certain things in life where you do splurge a little bit. And if I'm going to feel, either better or happier or more confident because of it, then that I feel like is worth the investment. Same thing with like the home design, interior decor, like stuff like that. To me, like that's the space that I'm surrounding myself with. That's my home. That's my home base. That is my, safe space. I want that to be as comforting to me as possible. I want that to be a reflection of me as much as it can. So, getting the, whatever it is, like whatever piece that I'm thinking about, whether it's like a kitchen table or, nice bedding, like that type of stuff, the stuff that I'm going to get so much use out of that I feel like is worth the investment, invest in yourself in that way. Like that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. And I think it's very, very, I think it's something that, to be fair, I feel like some people won't agree with this one because I do think that there's people that'll be like, well, I don't need to do that because I can just, go to the drugstore and get my skincare, or I don't need to, invest in like my home because I can just, go off and find something else elsewhere and it's fine. That's totally okay too. And I'm not disagreeing with that. And I'm also not saying that that's a bad thing because I love to do that as well. But what I've learned about myself is when I put myself in that mindset, that's when the overconsumption starts to happen, in my opinion. And for me personally, because I'm like, oh, I'll just take this, I'll take that, I'll take this, I'll take that. And not focusing on quality and more so focusing on quantity is where I have, done myself a disservice. So for me, I think it's important to really invest in myself, invest, in my future when it comes to, all of the things that we were just talking about. So to me, investing in yourself is really important. And that's something that I have learned along the way. Next one, take the trip. You can always make more money. This is very true as well. And this goes in part with investing in yourself. And I feel like some people won't agree with this. And I'm not saying, go outside your means or splurge on something that you can't afford. But what I'm saying is like the money will always come back, but memories, like that's a once in a lifetime thing. Like the memories that you get to make with your people, with your loved ones, whether that be your family, your partner, your kids, being able to make memories like that is so worth it. You will be able to make the money back. You will be able to work again. Like it's just more so about making those memories and having them because that's something that's going to last you a lifetime. And honestly, I don't think you can put a price tag on that. Again, I'm not saying to like go balls to the wall crazy and just like, go outside of your means, but, taking the trip, big or small, making those memories as a family or with, your friends, I think that that's really important in life. And so that I think is something that you should, to me, it's something that I try to now live by. Number 7, don't overconsume. That goes into the other 2 that I just talked about. Because I literally said, but with that being said, don't overconsume. Number 8, you don't always have to have the answers. This is something that I have really had to struggle to learn and just to kind of accept. I am someone who not only am I a little bit nosy, I like to know the why of everything. Like to me, I'm always like, okay, but why? Like I want to know, like, tell me why this happened. Tell me why you did this. Tell me why you feel this way. Sometimes we don't need to know all the answers. And most of the time, we're not going to get them. We're not going to get answers a lot of the time. And that's okay. We have to be okay with that and find peace in that. Because I know for me personally, there's been times where I'm like, well, no, like explain more, like tell me more, tell me why. I want to get to the bottom of it. Like I'm trying to get to the bottom of everything. And by the way, first of all, it's exhausting. It's mentally draining and I don't recommend it. But I also think it's important to recognize that, it's not necessary. We don't need the answers to everything and we're not going to have them all the time. We aren't always going to figure out what the why is or what the reasoning is or get to the bottom of it. And the big sister truth of it all is even if we do have the answer sometimes, we're not going to like it. And a lot of times when we don't like the answer, we choose in our mind not to accept it. We're like, no, that can't be it. There's got to be something more to it. Or no, that's not right. There's got to be something else. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes the answer is just the answer and that's what it is. But also, we don't always have to know them. We don't always have to know the answers to everything. We don't always have to figure out the why. We don't have to play, what was that? Nancy Drew? Yeah, we don't have to be Nancy Drew and like figure it out and get to the bottom of everything. Sometimes not knowing is okay. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with. Number 9, everything will work itself out the way it's supposed to. You guys have heard me say this time and time again on this podcast. I'm constantly preaching this because I think that it's just very true. And for someone who is an overthinker and someone who has a lot of anxiety just about the future and am I making the right decisions and is this what I want my life to look like? And when I feel stressed about that, the one thing that really grounds me and gives me that sort of peace is reminding myself everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. Everything is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. Everything is going to fall the way it needs to. And I find a lot of comfort in that because it reminds me that there is something greater and bigger. I'm not just talking like in a religious standpoint, but I just mean like in life. I feel like it just reminds me that I'm not in control, and it, like, regardless of how I feel right now, everything is going to play out the way it needs to and the way it's supposed to. And I find comfort in that because it makes me feel like I don't have to figure it all out in this very second at this very moment, because I don't have to figure it all out. I can just figure out things day by day and the rest will work itself out. And I do truly believe that. And I fall back to that a lot. So that is something that I definitely resonate with. Number 10, therapy is your friend. Yes, I told you guys this before. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in last week's episode. I just got back into therapy. I was in therapy. I started therapy in 5th grade, actually, for separation anxiety. And then when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I started up again. And then when I was in high school, well, no, I didn't. I tried out a couple therapists in high school, just some very strange encounters and interactions, like, honestly, and it just kind of turned me off to therapy. And then after I came back from Belmont after a year, I got back into therapy and started up. So I was going again with this one woman, and then I switched from a traditional therapist to a life coach. And I did that for years. I used her for like 2 years, and then I took a break, and then I used her from like, I don't know, probably 2020 to literally last year, like 2024. Like, I was using her very consistently. So to me, I really liked her, but I think that sometimes you do just like, sometimes you just outgrow, certain people like that, certain therapists. And it was nothing to her. I think she's amazing. I still think that she's incredible, but I just reached a point where I wasn't really gaining much out of it anymore. So I just stopped. And then as of lately, like in the past like 6 months, I've been telling myself, like, I should just go to therapy again. I should start getting into it again. I just think it's really beneficial for a lot of different reasons. And I think no matter what you end up going for, even if you feel like you don't have to go for anything, I think that you would be shocked once you get in there. And so I've been going to this one girl. I've only seen her twice, and she's so freaking booked and busy, you guys. I like love her for it. Like, she's killing it. But I saw her in the beginning of December, and then I saw her a month later because she was booked, and I went to go make my second appointment, and she didn't have availability for like another 3 weeks. So I like booked a couple appointments like back to back, like 1 week apart from each other, just so we kind of like get through some of the fluff. I feel like when you go to therapy in the beginning, like, you're kind of just giving them the basic rundown, and like you're answering all of their questions, and like you kind of get through the like, who are you, and why are you here kind of talks. So to me, that has been something that I've been doing. But I left that first therapy session, you guys, feeling 10 pounds lighter. Like, I walked out of that first therapy session back in December, and I was like, oh my God, like, I feel so much better. Just after one session, I was really surprised at just like how great I was feeling, and just the relief that I felt, like feeling like I had a safe space to go, where like this person that I was about to talk to didn't know anyone that I was, anyone in my life. She didn't know my life. She didn't know me. She didn't know my family. She didn't know my friends. She didn't know anything about me. And I was able to go in and just be like, release it all, like just let it all go. And it was so healing and therapeutic. Like, I know it's therapy, and so it probably should be, but it really was so healing. And it's something that I'm so grateful to be able to do. And I know that therapy is expensive. Like, I'm not just saying this because and not taking into account like that it is a financial thing, and not everyone can go to therapy. And I'm really grateful that I can. But I do think that if you are in the position to go and you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, I don't know, should I do it? Should I not? It kind of freaks me out. I say just go, just try it. You might not like your first therapist off the bat. You might have to shop around for therapists a little bit. And I think that that's okay. I think that's very normal. And I just think that having someone where you can go and having an outlet is so beneficial. And I forgot how beneficial that was. Like when I went in there, I was like, oh, I felt like I could just like, I felt like I could go home and take a nap and just like sleep peacefully. It was so nice, you guys. Therapy is your friend. That's number 10 on this list. Okay, next. I like Cabernet. Yes. If you know me, you know I love wine. And for the longest time, when it pertains to red wine, I have not been a Cab girl. I've been a Pinot Noir girl, not even a Malbec girl. Like I strictly Pinot Noir because that's what my parents drank when I was growing up. Now, as I've gotten older and I've started exploring with different wines, yes, I do like a Pinot, but I do love a Cab and I also love a Malbec. I'm very much like, honestly, truthfully, like I don't discriminate when it comes to wines. I don't like, I will drink absolutely anything when it comes to wine, but I do have like my favorites. And so I've loved a Cab lately. I've loved a Malbec. With white wine, I do discriminate, because I do not like Chardonnay. And that's one on this list. I think it's like in the 20s or something. I remember writing that down. So that is on there and we'll get to that. But I just don't like Chardonnay. But when it comes to red wine, I like everything. But I didn't ever think that I liked a Cab. And now I'm realizing that I do. So I'm a Cab girl now. Okay, so then for number 12, I have discovered in my 28th year that I am a silver jewelry girl. I tried to convince myself for so long that I was a gold jewelry girl. I would wear gold every time I went out. Gold jewelry. I'm a silver girl. I'm a silver girl at heart. And not only, so my engagement ring, it's white gold, but it's technically, I feel like white gold is silver. Like it looks silver. And also I wear these two bracelets on. Hayden got me this tennis bracelet for Christmas. And then this other bracelet that I have is silver. My Aura ring is silver. Like I am a silver girl at heart. I just think it makes me look more awake. I don't know what it is about like my skin tone or something. I just think silver looks better on me. I know that it doesn't on other people. Like I know some people are like the gold like makes them shine and like that's their thing. For me, silver girl through and through. And I learned that about myself and I love it. And now I don't have to guess like silver or gold. I'm a silver girl through and freaking through. Okay, number 13. Finding your style is trial and error. I stand on this so hard. I feel like for all of my life, I've been like trying to narrow down my style and trying to figure out like what I want to, like what I want my style to be, like what aesthetic that I want. And this is what I've learned. Not only is it trial or error, you can have all of the aesthetics. You can have it all. If you want to be a little bit more street style one day and then you want to be a little bit more like girly girl the next day, you can do it all. But finding your style is trial and error. I look back at outfits that I have legitimately worn and I'm like, what was I thinking? And here's the thing, I'm still going to have moments like that. I'm still going to wear things and I'm going to look back and be like, that was a crazy idea. That was a crazy option. But for me personally, I'm like, it's all trial and error and it's okay. And then I know when I put on an outfit and I'm like, oh, this snaps, like this eats, I am so happy. And I'm like, this is me. This is my style. I feel like I'm definitely more of like a street style, like streetwear, but also a little bit more like, sometimes I'm a little bit more preppy. I don't know. But you know what? I can have it all. It doesn't mean it's going to look good every time, but I can have all the styles and it is trial and error. So if you're sitting there and you're like, am I ever going to figure it out? You will. You will. It will happen. Number 14, I am a country girl over a city girl. Yes, this is true. Is it shocking because I live in Tennessee? I definitely find myself being happiest when I am out in like the countryside, and where my parents' house is, it's a little bit more, remote. It's a little bit more out in like a secluded area. It's still in like a neighborhood, so there's people around and it's, it's great, but the area in and of itself is definitely a little bit more like countryside, Hannah Montana-esque, very like that kind of coded. But I love that. I love that more than like city life. Like whenever I go to New York, I love it, but I can only take New York in doses now because it's just very overwhelming and overstimulating for me. Like I love it in certain ways, but other ways I'm like put me out into the farm with like a glass of wine, not a farm, but like a field with a glass of wine and a sunset. That sounds amazing. I would so much rather have that. And I do think that whenever Hayden and I buy a house, whether that's next year or this year, I definitely want it. Him and I have both said we want it to be a little bit more in a secluded area. We want it to be a little bit more remote. We definitely want land. That's kind of what our vision is for what our house is going to be in the future. And I'm very excited for that. But yeah, like I would definitely prefer that over like being in the city and like the hustle and bustle of it all. When I first moved to Nashville, I moved right downtown. If you don't know, I actually don't know if I've ever said it before. I used to live at this apartment complex called 5th and Broadway, which is quite literally right on Broadway. If you've ever been to Nashville and ever been to Broadway, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is quite literally the apartment complex that is smack dab on Broadway. And I moved there because when I was moving to Nashville, I was like, okay, I don't know anyone. I want to be able to like kind of just, not feel lonely. I didn't want to feel like I didn't want to feel alone. So my solution for that was putting myself in the middle of the craziest part of town. And that to me was so overwhelming. Parking was horrible. Trying to get anywhere was such a hassle. Oh my God, don't even get me started on and I know this is such first world bullshit. Honestly, trust me, I know it makes me like sick saying this, but like getting a delivery or like a DoorDash, please, or like an Uber, don't even, like it wasn't even worth it. So I definitely love being in I'm just more of a countryside girl, and I love that. Okay, number 15. Celebrate all of the small wins in life. Celebrate all of the wins in life, big or small. I have learned that life is fucking hard. And that is also something I've learned before 28. Life is fucking hard. There are times where it just feels like, you just want to give up sometimes. And that's the reality. And it's not a fun reality, but sometimes that's the reality. Life fucking sucks sometimes, and it's hard, and we go through shit. But that's why I think celebrating every moment, big or small, every little win that you can, makes life more enjoyable, and it makes it more exciting, and it makes any sort of win feel like a big win. And I think that celebrating every single win is really important because everything should be celebrated. I think that there's so much joy in celebration. I found a lot of times over the past year, like little moments, like when Hayden passed his real estate test, like we celebrated. And while that's like might seem like a little win, like we celebrated it like it was a big win. And, birthdays and making everything like a celebration and a joyous occasion, and celebrating life because life is hard. And so celebrating it, it can make it a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more exciting, and just, there's a warmth to it. So celebrating all of the wins. Okay, number 16. I have learned I don't love movies. Here's the thing. I have tried to convince myself that I'm a movie girl for a long time. I've tried to convince myself I like movies. Oh, I'll sit down and I'll watch a movie. I don't like movies. My attention span can't do a movie. And I think that that's a bad thing. And I think that might be like, that might be something deeper I need to look into. I can't sit there and watch a movie. I don't want to do it. I would so much rather watch a series. I love a series where I'm like glued to the TV. I'm all in. I love a good series. I don't love a movie. I just don't want to watch one. I don't want to sit there for an hour and a half. I don't want to commit. There's very few movies where I'm like, okay, yes, I want to see it. I haven't seen Wicked yet. I do want to see that. I went and saw Barbie. I saw Elvis. Like, I'll see the big movies that come out just to like see them, but I'm never going to be like, let's put on a movie. That's not my vibe. And I don't want to pretend that it is anymore. Okay, number 17. There are very few things in life that queso and a margarita can't fix. This is true. We have this, one of the Mexican restaurant chains here is called Cilantro. And I think that I'm pretty sure that it's like in a lot of places. It's not just in Nashville, but I love Cilantro. They have the best queso and the best margaritas for like just cheap. You want like your little hole in the wall joint. Like that's where you go. And I leave there so happy. I love it. They're consistent. It is good. I love it there. And I just have realized, like, if I'm ever in a slump, if I'm ever like, oh, like I've had a hard day, I've had a bad day, like it's just been a, hard week, whatever. And Hayden's like, do you want to go to Cilantro? I'm like, say less. Like that is my love language. I love it there. So yes, very few things in life that queso and a margarita can't fix. Number 18, saying no is okay. We've talked about this a lot on this podcast. I think we did the art of saying no. We've talked about boundaries. Saying no is okay. And I've learned that this year. I've learned that I've spread myself too thin in a lot of social scenarios that I put myself in, to where I'm saying yes to everyone. And then I end up, getting the bad end of that deal because I'm spread too thin. I can't show up for my people the way I want to. We talked all about this in last week's episode, like regarding boundaries. So go listen to that if you haven't. But saying no is okay. Saying no is okay. And sometimes you have to say no. And it's not a personal thing. It's not a personal attack on the other person, but sometimes you have to say no. And that's okay. And you don't have to feel bad about it. Number 19, don't underestimate the power of an everything shower. That rhymed. That could have been a lyric. Don't underestimate the power of an everything shower. I love a good everything shower. If I'm hungover, everything shower. If I'm in a bad mood, everything shower. If I just feel like I'm like in a slump, everything shower. I love an everything shower. I feel like a new person after an everything shower. So we love that. Number 20, good things come to those who go after what they want. I truly believe this. And I feel like in life, there's many times where it's just like, oh, I'm going to wait for these things to happen. When you wait for things to happen to you, nothing is going to happen. Sometimes you do have to get up. Sometimes you do have to, and this is not to be like a Kim Kardashian, like get your fucking ass up and work. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that when you have goals, like for example, let's say fitness goals, your fitness goals are not going to be accomplished by not doing anything about them. Like, and that's just big sister hard truth. And that sucks. Do I wish that I didn't have to like go to the gym multiple times a week to accomplish my fitness goals? Yes. Would I love to just be able to sit down and not move and, you know, let my goals accomplish themselves? Yes. But guess what? I have to do it or else it's not going to get done. And it's not going to, I'm not going to see my goals will not be achieved. I will not see the progress that I want. Goals, like you got to work for them. Sometimes you got to work for it a little bit. And so good things come to those who go after what they want. Sometimes you do have to get up and sometimes you do have to, you know, challenge yourself and you do have to put in hard work on certain things, whatever that is, whether that's career, personal, fitness, health goals, whatever the goal is. Sometimes you got to put work in for it to get the result that you want and to get the outcome that you want. And good things come to those who go after what they want. So I've learned that. Number 21, I still don't like Chardonnay. There's where it was. I just don't like it. I love a Sauvignon Blanc. I love a Pinot Grigio. I think there's one more in that list, but I don't like a Chardonnay and I don't know what it is. I think it's too sweet for me. It's a little too thick. It tastes a little too buttery for me. And this is a girl who loves butter. I love butter. I don't like it in my wine. I don't like Chardonnay. It's not for me. And I'm not going to pretend that it is. I will not drink it. Hayden, we were actually going and looking at wedding venues and everyone has been so sweet. Like they give us these like goodbye gifts or like a thank you for coming, like thank you for touring our venue gift. And it's been wine every single time they give us Chardonnay. And so it's been like this joke with Hayden and I, and he actually opened a bottle of it the other night and he had a glass and he's like, oh, this is really good. Like you should taste it. And I tasted it. It wasn't, it's the thing is if I liked Chardonnay, does this make sense to anyone else? If I liked Chardonnay, I would have liked that wine. But because I don't like Chardonnay, I just didn't like it. And he really liked it. And he was like, you don't like this? And I was like, no, I don't know what it is. I just don't like Chardonnay. So I've learned that. The next one, there's power in letting go. Yes. There is so much power in letting go. There's power in walking away. There's power in releasing. Letting go the need of control, letting go this idea that we have to be in control of every little thing or, you know, we have to have control over certain situations. That's a normal mindset to be in. But once you realize that like, sometimes you just got to let things happen the way that they're going to happen because they will always fall into place. Having that faith in that mentality is also where that comes in. But sometimes you got to let things go. And just release the power, release it and say, just, you know, I'm giving it up and see what happens. There's this woman, I forget her name right now, but I've been seeing her TikToks everywhere. I feel like she's been doing a lot of podcasting interviews and she talks about this philosophy of just like, let them. I think it's actually a book she wrote too. Let them. If people are going to treat you any sort of way, let them. Let people show their true colors. Let people do like what they're going to do. Let them act how they're going to act. Let them show you who they are. Let them. And I love that philosophy. So that to me is like kind of similar with like let things go. You don't have to control things all the time. I think that there is so much power in letting go. And it's also really exhausting to try and control everything all the time. It is mentally draining. It's emotionally draining. It feels like a lot is on your shoulders all the time. And sometimes you just kind of have to like wipe your hands of it and just like release, let it go and just see what happens. Next one. There's no better time than now. I have to remind myself of this pretty much constantly because I'm always like, oh, I'll do it on Monday. Oh, I'll do it on Wednesday. Oh, I have free time then. I'll do it then. No, There's no better time. Sometimes there is a better time. If it's like midnight and you're like, I want to get up and clean my closet, maybe that could wait till the morning. But, when we put things off constantly, it's just, we know, like you and I both know, when we're constantly putting things off and we're like, oh, I'll get to that later. I'll do that next week. I'll do this whenever. You and I both know we're not doing it. We just know that. And so I think reminding ourselves that there's no better time than now to go after what we want, to accomplish our goals. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, do it now. Why are we waiting? Next one, closet cleanouts every 3 to 4 months are critical. They are. It's very critical. I just don't even think that one needs an explanation. Next one, treat yourself. This also falls into invest in yourself, but treat yourself. If you want ice cream, if you want a cookie, if you want a glass of wine, if you want, if you want to get, new makeup, whatever it is, treat yourself. Do not hold yourself back from nice things in life or little pleasures in life for some stupid reason. Just treat yourself. It's okay. Next one, make sure your people know how much you love them. I've spent a lot of time over this past year just kind of understanding that life is so precious, and not to get too deep, but just we never know how much time any of us has. And making sure you let your people know how much you love them and how much they mean to you, I think is really special. And I think as I've gotten older, I've realized it's not weird. When I talk about my friends and whatever, when I'm talking to them and, when we hang up the phone, I'll say, love you. And not to just my close friends, but people that I, my high school friends or friends from San Diego. If I'm talking to them, it's love you. And I mean that. I'm not saying it if I don't, but and it's not an in love with you. It's just I love you. I love you as a person. I think you're an amazing person. Telling your people how much they mean to you and how much you care for them, I think is a really special thing to be able to do. And it's something you're never going to regret. So do it more often. Number 27, take so many pictures. I'm so upset, you guys. I just got a new laptop and a new phone. Well, I got the new phone back in May because my phone just one day woke up and decided that it wasn't going to work anymore. Same thing happened with my laptop 3 weeks ago. Woke up, it just stopped working. Quite literally, it died and then it just didn't turn back on. So a lot of my pictures are gone from the last couple of years, and that makes me sad, but it's just a reminder to me to, first of all, back up my freaking iCloud. But second of all, take so many pictures and print them out and put them in books and, have them and have those memories and all of the things. Take the pictures. You'll always be able to look back. You'll always be able to reflect on those memories and those times. Take the pictures. And last one, number 28, it's all going to work out in the end. That's a cheesy one to end it on, but it's true. Life has a funny way of working itself out. Even in the times where you're I don't know what is happening in my life right now. I don't know what is going on. In that chaos, just know that it will fall, the dust will settle, and everything is going to work itself out in the end. That's what I've learned. Because you could have told me 3 years ago that same sentence, and I'd be it doesn't seem like it. I'd be yeah, for sure. Okay. But then I look at my life now and I'm no, it actually does all work out in the end. And yeah, there's bumps and there's hiccups and there's things that happen and changes and shitty things happen and life happens. But at the end of the day, life is going to work itself out and everything will fall into place. So that is what I've learned. Those are my 28 things by 28, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear some of yours that you have, just some stuff that you've learned over your years and over your time, and let me know what you think of mine. But with that being said, you guys, that's going to be all for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. Again, if you're new here, hi, my name's Savannah. Make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button before you leave. That way you never miss an episode. We post weekly here every single Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll be back next week with a brand new one for you guys, and I'll see you there. Bye, guys.